We'll start with the Buccaneers at Steelers. Steelers opened at -3, now at -1.5. Total opened at 37, now at 37.5. Head coach Mike Tomlin, 24-26 against the spread in the preseason, and 20 of his 50 preseason games have gone over, 30 under. And now we get Bruce Arians back, a man I'm a big fan of, 10-9-2 against the spread preseason, and 11 of his 21 games have gone over. Steelers enter a new era. No Le'Veon, no Antonio Brown. And then we get Arians out of retirement to lead a franchise that has had 2 winning seasons this decade. Jalen Samuels will get a lot of run today for the Steelers, 256 rushing yards in his rookie year. 4th-round pick Benny Snell Jr. will also be in the mix. The Steelers have a brewing competition. They have a backup job competition with Joshua Dobbs and Mason Rudolph. And on the other side of things, Blaine Gabbert and Ryan Griffin are battling for the right to back up Jameis Winston. Now, Buccaneers at Steelers this evening. And may I say, of these 5 games we break down, it is our guy, John, the Chicago sports informant. It is his birthday today. He's in the chat. Capper John wanted a play for a birthday pick, and I found this baseball card extremely difficult today and don't feel confident in giving him one. Let's find him one from these 5 plays. Donnie, right now, Buccaneers at Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking a look at, sometimes we play those angle in the preseason where coaches that care, new coaches that come in and want to establish themselves. I mean, Bruce Arians technically coming in, quote unquote, new, but he's been around the block and he's going to take the preseason as he's always taken it. I mean, you always want to win. Yes, it's your first game. You don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to get beat, 29-0 like we saw on the scoreboard yesterday. But coming into this game, I actually like the Steelers a little bit, even though they are the favorite here. I always like to take a look at quarterback battles of what's going to take place and what we can anticipate. You've had 2 decent performers in the preseason in Mason Rudolph and Joshua Dobbs. I always like to have a guy, even if you're not a pure passer, like Mason Rudolph's going to try to pass the ball. Joshua Dobbs more of that, dual threat type guy, because how many times have we watched the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, the first preseason game? Nothing works right. The passing game breaks down completely. But if you have a guy with some legs who can get out there and run and move the football, that does add dividends. I think the better quarterbacking situation for pregame number 1 tonight is with Pittsburgh, Jimmy, and I'm going to stay that way. Give me the Steelers tonight.
The Steelers are appealing, and that was the first thing that our guy Jungle Boy 223 said in the chat. He said Steelers, money line, easy. How do you see this breaking down well, Capper?
I would generally side with the home team who's getting points in this sort of thing, but I got to tell you, I'm not a huge Mason Rudolph guy. I do not love Dobbs as a backup quarterback, and I would be only betting the Steelers first half if I felt like I had an angle there. My look here is probably going to look for a second half under as we see this game play out. I don't have a good solid pregame look on this one because, we know Bruce Arians is familiar with Pittsburgh. He spent a lot of his career there. He's familiar with the atmosphere there. He probably would like to get a little bit of a momentum going at his new spot here. But all said, I think these are pretty evenly matched second, third, fourth units, and I don't see a clear and obvious edge here.
Now, one thing about this game is the Buccaneers have said over and over again, or Arians has said over and over again, that the running game has to improve. It was 29th ranked last year. We're going to work on the running game. Does that tell you that unders are in play in this game because of Arians' need to focus on the running game? Donnie, does that make you think, if I give you a free play on the total, what would you do?
I mean, if you're ever going to give me a free play in the total in the preseason, Jimmy, it doesn't even matter what the expectation is. I'm always going to lean towards the under because and again, Will Capper brought up when we started the show here, there are some oddness going on, which we always see week 1 with penalties. 20, 15 accepted penalties that just come back. Give me the under all day long. If somebody's saying we're going to work on the running game, you know what that means to me? We're not going to really – they're going to throw some passes out there, don't get me wrong, but our scheme is to – let's see who's physical out here. Because if you ever played football before, sometimes you go through stretches. We're just going to see who's tough here. We're going to pound the football tonight. Give me the under in this game.
The under, that makes sense to me after what Bruce Arians said. We've already heard you leaning towards a second half under. We got Maxwell Smart in the chat. Love seeing him there. Brian Riley says home crowd is the edge. Go Pittsburgh. Are you
Yes.
only on the second half under? If I gave you a free play on the full game, would you make a move
I
towards the
take
under?
no, I like your angle a lot, and really what you brought into the discussion was huge, and that is when coaches tell you that they're going to do something in the preseason, listen to them. Like they're not out here trying to deceive us; they're legitimately trying to kind of inform the fans, inform the media. Like this is what you should look out for in this game, and if they're going to work on the run game, if they're going to shorten the game in that regard, then by all means line up and bet the under here. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, both teams have to kind of build their defense on the fly here too. So I would expect that you see some pretty competent defensive play, and the full game under makes a ton of sense. But I particularly circled this one as a nice look for a second half under, just based on who our starting quarterbacks are likely going to be coming out of the locker room.
Yeah, that all seems to make sense to me. And your lean towards the Steelers first half, Will Capper, was that you think that Dobbs will get the more first half reps?
No, it was more just that the second half the Steelers might put up a goose egg. It was if you were going to back the Steelers, if you feel like you have an edge on something about the way that they match up, or what their game plan is going to be, I would just be conscientious about backing them for the full game, because a guy like Blaine Gabbert is a competent quarterback. Is not exactly the same situation that we saw with the Titans yesterday, with Fitzpatrick getting a bunch of first team reps in practice this week and kind of being pushed specifically to push Mariota. But Blaine Gabbert's, he's been around for a long time. He's got a solid hold on this second quarterback spot, and if he's playing against some of the backups, he's going to rack up some yards and points. So, if anything, I think I would actually lean Bucks. But I certainly wouldn't count on the Steelers getting a win just because they're at home and just because the crowd's going to get into it.